Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of the Freedom from Anxiety workshop. So I'm just going to quickly recap what we did yesterday. We talked about the fight or flight response. We talked about what happens when we enter into it. We talked about the symptoms of it. And we talked about the present moment practice and how to bring yourself back with breath and grounding. So today we're going to move on to the second part, which is the first thing that we're going to do is start looking at the triggers that are sending you into anxiety. And like I said yesterday, the triggers are different for everybody depending on what their programming is, depending on what that filter system is that's been built into their brain. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen with you again really quickly. Here we go. Okay, so noticing the triggers of your anxiety. What you need to start looking at is how you can break anxiety down so that you can start looking at the actual program that you have in your mind. So be looking at things like, when are the times that you're feeling anxious or stressed? Can you see any pattern in that? You know, is it that you're feeling stressed every time you go to the supermarket? Is it that you feel stressed or anxious when you're thinking about social situations? Maybe you have something like social anxiety. Maybe, you know, is there one topic that you're feeling stressed about, or is it, you know, a generalized anxiety type thing? And start to write it down. When you notice these things, start to write them down, because this is going to be the key for you to understand it. Okay, these are all the things that I go through with my clients when they first come to me and they say, I've got a problem with anxiety, or this is what's happening for me. This is a list of things that we go through so we can start to break down where that program is sitting in their mind. Okay, so then where are you when you're feeling like this? Is it at home? Is it at work? Is it when you're walking your dog? You know, is there any pattern to whereabouts you are? You know, some of my clients will say, I am absolutely fine when I'm at home, and it's only when I leave to go somewhere, or when I'm at work, maybe they're really anxious. So you begin to start seeing patterns and seeing where your anxiety is coming from. Okay, another one is, how does the anxiety make you feel? Think about it on a scale of 1 to 10. You know, am I feeling a 1 today? Am I feeling completely zen and calm and amazing? Or am I feeling the 10 where I don't think I can even leave my house or get out of my bed? You know, have a bit of a rating scale and rate it in different places, like you know, at work, at home. Do a different rating system for each place or each time, and then you'll start to begin to see the pattern even more. Okay, and another really good one to look at is, where do you feel anxiety in your body? Now this is going to sound really strange, right? Because anxiety, you think it's in the mind, but your body will actually give you signals as well. Okay, so most of my anxiety clients say it's in the stomach or the chest. I think because, of course, your digestive system shuts down and your lungs begin to contract as well, and you feel that tightness in your chest. So a lot of people will say that. But there is also a thing where we hold on to emotion in our body, right? So we actually store emotion in our body, and it can be triggered at any time. So when we have anxiety triggered, it's interesting to see whereabouts it manifests in our body, and if it stays in the same place or if it moves, and it's just another thing to become aware of, so that we can start to recognize when we go into that response and bring ourselves back with the breath. So if you spend, say, a week just writing down when, where, how, where inside your body, you give it a number, you're going to start to see a pattern, right? And this is what you can start working on, and this is when you can start breaking it down and really bringing in the techniques that I'm giving you to make a big change in your life, instead of being stuck in the anxiety, you'll begin to recognize it, and you'll be able to move through it with these techniques. All right. And the fact that you're even doing this, and you're even watching this and thinking about it, is so huge. A lot of people don't even realize that they're feeling anxious. They just know that they're not happy, or they just feel like they're angry all the time, and they don't actually know what is causing it. Okay, so moving on to our next bit. Oh, this is a really interesting one. Okay, so for this, I want you to think about, when you talk about anxiety or when you talk about stress, what words do you use and how do you say it? So just pretend that you're talking to your friend, right? And you probably say something like, my anxiety was really bad today. My anxiety made me feel sick. My anxiety stopped me from going out in the car. My anxiety really kicked in at this time, right? So think about those words that are being used. And when you say something is mine, you're owning that thing, right? So when you're saying my anxiety, you are owning that anxiety. I like to explain it in terms of a car, right? So if you have a car that you own and you talk about it, you say, my car is red. My car goes this fast. I took my car to the shops, okay? But then say you want to sell your car. You buy a new car and you want to sell the old one. You put it on Trade Me or whatever. Somebody rings you up. When you talk to that person, are you going to say, my car has done this many Ks? My car has new tires? No, you're not going to say that, because in your mind, you've already sold that car. And you also want them to think that they can buy it. If you're calling it yours, you're owning it. Okay, so it's the same thing with anxiety, right? So when you go to sell the car, you start calling it the car. You start saying, the car has done this many Ks. The car is this much money to buy, right? So when you think about anxiety, you need to do the same thing. Instead of saying, my anxiety makes me feel like this, my anxiety has this effect on me, you need to change the way that you're talking about it. You need to make a space between you and the anxiety. So, for example, you could say, the anxiety that I experience, or, I felt anxiety at this time, or just something that kind of breaks up that ownership, that gives you just that little bit of space to start working on it. Because anxiety isn't something that you want to own, right? Obviously, if you're here watching this now, this is not something that you want to own. So start changing the way that you think of anxiety and the way that you speak about anxiety. Okay. So, are you taking possession of it? How do you speak about anxiety? Are you creating, and I know you won't be doing this on purpose, okay, but are you creating a victim lens? Is anxiety serving you in some way, right? So we all like to be comfortable. We all like to keep ourselves in a comfortable place. But is it really serving you to do that, right? So if there's things that you don't particularly enjoy doing, and you can get out of doing them by saying, oh, my anxiety won't let me do that, right? Is that something that you're doing? Are you holding yourself back in some way by using anxiety as an excuse? And I know most of you will be thinking, no way, no, I wouldn't do that. But really, if you ask yourself, really, 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 is that something that you do? Everybody does in some way. So just ask yourself, have a really good conversation with yourself. Maybe it's something that you do. Maybe it's a convenient thing for you. Okay. And what kind of story are you telling yourself when you do this? Are you telling yourself a story of success and confidence and growth? Or are you telling a story of stress, anxiety, keeping yourself small, keeping yourself stuck in that? You know, you've really got to look at the bigger picture when it comes to anxiety and stress. You know, what kind of story are you keeping yourself stuck in? Maybe you didn't realize before you came to this workshop that you were doing that, and most people don't, and it's okay. But now that you realize, this is your chance to do something about it. Okay, so maybe you want to write down any kind of stories that are keeping you stuck as well. And we don't just do this with anxiety, we do it with everything. Okay, so now we're going to look at strategies to help you manage. Okay, so we've been over the breathing and the grounding technique last week. We're not going to do that again. Go back and watch that video if you haven't watched it. Go back. You need to watch that one first. Come back to this one. Okay, so the very first thing you need to do is be aware that you've entered into that emotional, stressed out, anxious response. Okay, that's the very first thing. Number 2 is bring in that breathing, bring in the grounding process, bring yourself back to the present moment. Okay, number 3, now this is the new thing for you this week. This is the technique and the thing that I want you to think about, is to look at the meaning. All right, start to question yourself. What can I learn from this anxiety that I'm experiencing? There's always something to learn in a negative situation. There is something that you can learn. There is some way that you can make it serve you in a positive way. Okay, so you can also start questioning yourself when you find your triggers and you find the stories that you're telling yourself. What you can do is write them down. Okay, so I've got this story. My anxiety stops me from giving presentations. Right. Okay. The second thing you can do is ask yourself, is this true? Is it true? And you might think, yes, of course it's true. Of course it's true. I can't give presentations because my anxiety gets in the way and I can't talk and it's just too much. All right. Okay. So yeah, it's true. Is it really, really 100% true? Can you say without a doubt, there is no way in the world that you could get up and give a presentation? Maybe there's a slight chance that you could, right? There's a chance that you could learn to move through anxiety and do that. So maybe it's not 100% true, but if it's 100% true, that's okay. All right. Now what you can do is ask yourself, who would I be and what would I do and how would things be for me if I didn't have that story? If I didn't think that was true, how would things be different? Well, I'd be able to get up and give a presentation. I'd be able to move into some areas of work that I can't do now because anxiety is holding me back. I might be able to have other career opportunities. I might be able to share my ideas more effectively, right? So you can start to see how the story is keeping you stuck. And you can start to see all these things that could open up to you if you just dropped their story, right? What kind of things would you believe if you didn't believe their story? What kind of things would open up to you? And who would you be without that thought? My anxiety stops me from doing this. Who would you be? You'd probably be really confident. You'd probably get a lot of stuff done. You would probably be free, right? Okay, so you can go through that process, those 4 questions. Then the best thing you can do is bring in gratitude. Okay, and I'm not talking about, oh yeah, I'm really thankful for my anxiety. I want you to really find something that you are truly thankful for, because when you actually feel true gratitude, what happens is it raises the DHEA chemicals in your bloodstream, in your body, and that counteracts the cortisol from the stress response. So that helps to bring you back into the calm nervous system where you want to be, the place where you can think properly and you can act in a good way, and you can start using the whole of your brain instead of just 50%, and you get a whole lot more stuff done, and you're generally a lot nicer to be around. Right? So we've got those things. We've got present moment practice. This one's really cool too. Okay, just taking a couple of minutes to really, really, really be in the present moment. So you could do something like make a cup of tea in the present moment. So hear what it's like as the jug's boiling. Feel the weight of the jug when you pick it up. Watch it as you pour it in. Listen to the sound that the water makes when it hits the cup. Smell the tea as it's brewing. Really use your senses to be in the present moment. Just for that time while you're making a cup of tea. Don't let your mind project to that other thing that you've got to worry about, all of that. Just keep it in the present moment. The more that you do this, the easier it is to do. It's like a mini meditation. Okay. Pre-planning and morning mindset. I just did a post about this. Actually, no, I did a blog post about this today. So have a look on our website. It's got some good tips about your morning mindset practice. If you can get yourself into a really good mindset space in the morning, the chances are your day is going to go a lot better, and you're going to be a lot more calm, and you're going to know where you want to go with your day. Segment intending for emotion. This one's really cool. Okay, so you can take a segment of your day. Say it's the morning, from when you first get up to when you would normally leave for work, or maybe you're still leaving for work. And instead of, you can have an intention for the things that you want to physically get done in that time, but the best thing you could do would be to intend for an emotion that you want to stay in that time, so that you have a focus point for your mind that isn't dependent on what is happening around you. So you've got the focus point of, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to feel calm, and I'm going to stay in the present moment, and whatever happens, but I know that I have that focus point of staying calm. Okay, and when things start to stray from that, like when your kids aren't quite getting ready fast enough, and you start thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be late for work, and oh, that means I'm going to be late all day, right? So you can then realize, oh, I'm heading into that anxiety stress response. I wanted to stay calm this morning, so I'm going to bring in some breathing and I'm going to stay calm. Doesn't matter that my kids aren't quite ready yet. I'm going to stay calm. Okay, and you can use those segments all throughout your day, and you can use it for things like, I want to feel energetic when I'm working out. I want to, be really focused when I'm in a meeting. You can do it for all types of things, and then it doesn't matter what's happening around you. You're just focused on your mindset and your emotion. Okay, one of the best things you can do is move your body, get some exercise, whether it's just going for a walk for half an hour, whether it's doing some yoga or some breathing practice, anything at all. When you move your body, you're getting those endorphins, right? Which is another way that you can get out of the stress response into your body, into the present moment. Okay, so that is it for part 2 of our workshop. And hope you guys have learned something today. If you haven't watched part 1, go back and watch part 1. We will do part 3 next. We'll be doing some hypnosis. Make sure that you've got some headphones and some time to listen and relax. Okay, see you later.